What's up guys, Jean here, back with episode number 2 of the app review series, where I will go ahead and review some of the apps within the App Store and let you guys know what some of the pros and cons are of the apps. Now today we're going to be looking at Purify versus Adblock, and I'm doing this because there was a comment on the previous video I did on Scannable. If you guys haven't checked that out, I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description down below as well as an iCard right here. And so I planned on doing Purify sometime later in the future, but because there was a comment about it, I'll go ahead and just do one now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now both of these apps are built to help make your browsing experience a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the versions that I am looking at. So with Purify, we are looking at version 1.4. If you can see that there. And then with Adblocker, we are doing version 4.1. So there have been a couple more revisions on Adblock versus Purify. But we're going to go ahead and look at what are some of the pros and cons of both of these apps. So right from the start, it's good to know that both of these apps do cost the same price because we're going to be doing a comparison between the two. So both Purify and Adblock are both $1.99 in the App Store. Now both of them do have different functionalities and the different measures to which you can adjust the way you browse within Safari. Now a disclaimer is that these apps do not work on Chrome. I have downloaded the Chrome app to test it out, and the functionalities of both of these apps don't really work on Chrome. Alright, so right now we're just going to go ahead and take a look at each of the apps. So first up, I'm going to show you guys what Purify looks like. So I'll go ahead and pop right here what you guys see on my screen right here. So right now we're going to go ahead and open up Purify, and you can see that Purify is currently enabled for my day-to-day browsing. And other than that, there's not a lot of other options you can choose from. You can see Insight Auto Update, which basically will auto update all of the information from the different sites that you visit. And another option is to replay the tutorial. So I'll go ahead and show you guys what it's like, because this is the setup process to set up Purify. Now for both of these apps, you're going to have to go to your settings option to be able to enable the content blocker. So this step here basically shows you all of the different steps that you have to do in order to enable it within your browser. And here it will show you how you can whitelist different pages that you visit if you don't want any of the Purify actions to take place on those different pages. And then that's all you have to do to get started. So we're going to go ahead and click Get Started, and on the second tab on the bottom, you can see that there is the blocking option, so we're going to go ahead and click on that. And the top three are basically the important things that you do want to block, so ads and tracking, as well as social buttons like sharing and Facebook and Twitter and all of those. So you can choose to block those if you don't really share that often, but there's also the share option when you are browsing anyways. So it's up to you whether or not you want to toggle that on or off. But then there is also comments, so if you don't want to be able to see comments on certain articles, then you can also have that disabled or enabled. Now, something interesting that I do like is the fact that they have the ability to block images, scripts, and custom fonts. And down here you can see that this would be the section where you would view all of the pages that you have whitelisted. I don't have any now, that's why it was blank. But I'll go ahead and show you guys a demo where it does not have images blocking turned on and then one option with it turned on. So this is what browsing looks like without the images blocking turned on, and you can see that Yahoo always has a bunch of images. So now we're going to go back to the app and toggle on the image blocking, and then we're going to go back to Yahoo, and all we have to do is refresh the page, and you can see that all of the images are blocked. I haven't really used the scripts or custom fonts one because sometimes there are some scripts that should be able to run on certain web pages, but I also generally just have images turned off. But it's great if you are mainly browsing on data and you don't want to take up too much of your data plan using it to download images, so you can toggle this image blocking off. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at Adblock. So jumping right in, you can see that it's kind of very simple compared to Purify. And what you have to do to enable this app is just slide up. So I've slid the little bar upwards towards the top of my screen, and it says slide down to disable. And that's all you have to do to enable and disable it, which is really nice because the UI is super simple. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at settings, and you can see that there's a couple more options here than in Purify, which is nice. So if we go to manage Safari rules, you can see this popular filter lists. And this is nice if you don't really have a list of your own of the different sites that you want to block. So all you have to do is toggle one of them on, and then you can go ahead and click save at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. And it will take some time to go ahead and download all of the different websites and packages. So after that, we're going to go ahead and click update, and then you can see that it is updating content blocker rules. All right, and then you can see the top option, which is where you would create your own list, but I don't have any in mind, so I don't want to do that. So taking a look at the second section is Adblock DNS proxy, where you can manage your DNS rules and you can add different ones if you want. So I have the top one as the default, and then the second one is the Cisco Open DNS platform, which makes browsing a little bit faster. So you can choose which one you want to enable versus disable. And then right under that is the import DNS rules if there are rules that you want to be able to assign to your DNS. And then right under that there is the DNS proxy log, and you can enable your proxy logging or disable it, and I just generally have it toggled off because I don't really go through my DNS logs to check the websites that I visited or all of their different routes. So there's also the option to remove your DNS profile in case you want to remove it for any future purpose or anything like that. But it's nice that they give you the other option, which is setting up a passcode. So if you give your phone to somebody but you don't want them to be able to manipulate your phone by adding their own DNS proxy or anything like that, then you can set up your own passcode. And you can see that here, that these are the steps you would have to go through, and it's basically the same as if you were to set up a new passcode for your phone or something like that. So we can go ahead and go through the show onboarding just like we did with Purify. So here we go, and you can see that they do the same thing where they ask you to go to your settings app to enable the content blocker. Then here you can go ahead and see how to use the app by managing your own Safari rules. Then it tells you that it has the ability to do DNS proxying, as well as how to enable or disable the DNS proxy. And that's basically it. So I went ahead and showed you guys what are some of the features of the app itself, but now we're going to go ahead and go into the pros and cons. Now, one of the cons, we're going to go ahead and start with that, is that you do have to keep the app installed. So you can't just install the app and then enable the feature on the content blocker and then remove the app, because it won't work unless the app is installed. And that's just a problem for me, just because I generally don't really like having a lot of apps on my phone. That's why I have it hidden in a folder on the second page so that it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Another con that I had already mentioned was that you can't enable it on any other browser that you may use. So if you download the Chrome app or the Firefox app or Opera or any other app, it won't really work because you have to go to your settings within your phone and then enable the content blocker for the Safari application. So it only works on Safari. Now, some of the pros about the apps is that it does make browsing a little bit faster, especially with Purify, with the ability to disable images and custom scripts or fonts. So that kind of makes it a little bit nicer. Another pro that I didn't really highlight with Adblock is that it can prevent some of the ads from showing up in some of the freemium games that you play. Now, if I had to weigh the pros and cons of both of the apps and probably give you guys one to purchase, because they are both the same price, but knowing that maybe not everyone wants to purchase both of these apps and just choose one, the one that I would probably go with is Adblock, just because it has more abilities within the app to choose your DNS filters. But the biggest pro of Purify is probably the image blocking. So you can kind of weigh your pros and cons from there, whether or not you prefer being able to block images to make mobile browsing faster when you are out on the go using LTE speeds, or if you want to be able to have your traffic route through a DNS proxy that could make your browsing experience a little bit faster as well. I'm not going to do a comparison on the speeds of both of the apps because once you download a web page off of the internet onto Safari, it basically has it in its cached folder. So definitely whatever app that I decide to test second will have the faster time because of the cache. I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel for further content similar to this. If you have an app that you would like me to review, go ahead and drop it in the comment section and I'll be sure to check out that app. And see you guys next time.